Hi, welcome to Minecraft Survival Skills. I've gotten a lot of interest on the easy early game mob farm video, and a couple of people have mentioned they would like to put hoppers in there to fully further automate it. So I've been through a couple of versions of this farm. This is version number 3. I did a video on version number 2. I highly recommend you take a look at that if you haven't already seen it. This is version 3. This is fully automatic. It flushes the spawning pads automatically, so you don't have to depend on mob wandering behavior to get the mobs into the killing pit. And then it automates the killing and collection of the mobs as well. So I've got dispensers going into the farm now. So I'm only using 3. I could put 16, but there are only a couple of spots that get missed this way inside the farm. I'll show you in a second. And I don't have to make 16 dispensers. So 3 is enough. I'm using 3 dispensers. And just if you look inside, you can see they've each got a bucket of water in them. I've got them hooked up to a timer. So when the timer clicks here, you can see this just dumped its water. So the pad is flooded right now, pushing mobs into the killing pit. And in a couple of seconds it's going to pull the water back in. So these dispensers are managing the water, and this timer is what's managing the dispensers. So this is an etho timer, and it's just an etho hopper timer, and I'll put the link to his tutorial in the description. But this is his timer, and I put about 20 items in the hoppers. 20 items gives me about a 10-second delay between piston pushes here. So then I did just an add-on to this etho hopper timer. This part right here is the timer. And then I added an observer right here that is watching this redstone block go back and forth, and each time that redstone block moves, this observer gives out a pulse here. See that pulse? And that pulse goes to the dispensers and fires the dispensers. So when the block moves again, you're going to see the observer is going to fire again and activate the dispensers again. So it just goes back and forth like that. And I put a couple of slabs on the top of these hoppers right here. It does not affect the operation of the hoppers, but it keeps stuff from dropping into the hoppers that would mess up the timing. So I don't want anything dropping into the hoppers. I didn't test this. Let me toss something on here. Oops. All right, so I don't think that's going to work. I want full blocks there. So let's take the extra stuff out of there. One moment. I want that, I want that. Okay, and I want to put full blocks on there because I don't want anything getting pulled in through the slabs. I thought bottom slabs would be good, but I guess not. I suppose I could put top slabs up here, and that would keep things from dropping in as well. But I'm just going to put a couple of blocks on there. So that's the timer and the observer to fire the dispensers. And then just as a finishing touch, I put levers on these blocks right here. These are the blocks that are controlling the pistons. So this lever floods the pads. If I want to go in there and do maintenance, I can just throw this lever, and this will allow once the things settle down, it'll keep the pads flooded. So I can go in there and do work. Now I have to be careful because there are a couple of pads in here that are still dry. I did not want to use so many dispensers, right? But you know, this is not a big deal. I don't come in here that often, and if this is crowded with mobs, that when that water gets flushed, they're just going to push each other into the pit. So I'm not worried about any loss of efficiency or anything to save me having to make a bunch of dispensers. So that's the way I did it. So that lever keeps the pad flooded. Let me make it dark in there again. So I'm going to turn that back on to start the flushing going again. And then I have another lever here. I think I'm going to make this, rename this, and call this dry. So with this lever pulled, it'll keep the floor in there dry. There might be times I don't want the auto flushing to be turned on. Maybe if I want to like farm for armor or something, I don't want the mobs to get flushed automatically. I want to go up and down the ladder like I used to. Then I can just tell it to keep the pads dry, and then I'll just work the ladder like I used to. But for right now, I'm going to leave the flushing turned on. So let's go in and take a look at the modifications to the killing pit. This is something that several of you have asked about, so we did it. Now, in my last video, in my most recent video before this one, I showed that I modified the shape of the farm a little bit, and then I put in this magma. So these magma cubes, the mobs will drop down onto these magma cubes, and the magma cubes will do the work for me. I can still stand here with a sword when they drop down, but if I'm not here, they'll eventually they'll die, and they'll drop their stuff onto the magma cube. And then running under the magma cubes, I've got a hopper minecart just to pull the stuff through. And it's a real simple setup. It's just a loop of track underneath the magma cubes. And then I've got a piece of redstone there, a redstone block, and powered rail, and redstone block and powered rail there. That's what keeps the minecart moving. It doesn't have to be moving fast. In fact, I don't want it moving really fast. I don't want to use a lot of resources to keep it moving, powered rail, redstone blocks, and whatnot. And when it comes over these hoppers here, I want it to kind of just pass over, you know, not too quick, because I want it to drop its stuff into these hoppers and then into the chests. Okay? So those hoppers go into the chest, and I pick up the stuff automatically. Now I'm going to clear the chest out so that we can go up and do a little test run here. Here's what I got so far out of the farm. You know, gunpowder wise, I've already made some long range rockets for my elytra. I've used several stacks of gunpowder. This is what I have left. Here's a little bit more. So really good if you have elytra, you want gunpowder. And then for, you know, farming, and I've got lots of bones. Not a lot of spider silk because I've got spider protection in there. I think this was from manually killing a spider outside, and I just toss it in this chest for safekeeping. And then arrows is good if you don't have an infinity bow. And speaking of bows, lots of bows. This is from when I come down and use the looting sword. You don't get bows or armor when you have this thing in full auto mode. You don't get swords either. If it's in full auto mode, you're not going to get armor or bows. You're just going to get bones, arrows, gunpowder, and that's it. So let's go up. So that chest is empty. I just emptied it. I still haven't put a water elevator in here. I might do that, or I might change the farm. I might go, I don't know, with a new version of this farm where I put it more up in the sky, or I might go to a flush farm that is going to give me tons of gunpowder. I might make a second farm that is just gunpowder only, put that off in the desert somewhere, and have it just for farming gunpowder, so I can get lots of gunpowder for TNT and for elytra. Right now I'm kind of wishing I had some TNT because I found a big nether fortress that I want to convert to a wither farm, but I've got to blow out a bunch of netherrack and stuff. I don't want to have to dig it all out. I'd like to use some TNT, so maybe I'll do that gunpowder farm. Anyway, this is the AFK spot, and you can do anything you want up here. I just did like a phantom trap up here. So I put these cobwebs. These are three blocks up. 1, 2, 3. They're 3 or 4. I think I went up 3 or 4. Anyway, I wanted to set it up so that I can't so easily jump into them. You can see I can jump into them a little bit still, but not a whole lot. And then I want some space here for the phantoms to try and come in and get me. Then when they try to fly away, they get stuck in these webs, and it's an easy kill. So I can farm phantom membranes. That'll give me a lot more it's nice to have a stack of those when you go out elytra flying, so that you don't have to keep coming back to base to mend your wings. So that's what I do. I just kind of hang out up here and farm phantoms. Now this could be a fish farm up here. It could be a fully closed in little mini base up in the sky. You can do anything you want with this area up here. So I just set it up so it's basically safe. I could make it totally safe, but this is good enough for me. And it gives me something to do while I'm letting the farm do its work down there. So let's just hang out for a second and let's see if we get any phantoms. I haven't slept for several days. I notice they don't, I don't get as much phantom spawning up here as I do on the ground. It might be because I'm at such a high altitude that things don't have the same spawning probability up this high as they do down closer to the ground. But once in a while I'll get a nice pack of phantoms here, and that keeps me occupied while the farm is down below working for me. And if I don't get them, that's nice. I can just stand up here and enjoy the stars and the sunset. So you can figure ways to spend time up here. If you want to make yourself a little room up here, I suggest make it out of some kind of transparent block. Maybe put some carpet down to make it comfy, and you can just come up here and just hang out. You could stay up here AFK overnight, and when you go down, you should have lots of stuff in the chest. And speaking of AFK, you just want to experiment with different heights. So right now I'm at about, I think, 180. Let's see. If you look at my XY, I'm at 185. So I'm kind of pushing the limit of how high I can be. I could play around a little bit to try and improve the rates on the farm. I could drop this down 5 or 10 blocks and see if it makes any difference. But for right now, I think it's working okay. When I go back down, I've got some stuff in the chest. So you have to kind of work that out in your own world. And if you're on Bedrock, then your AFK distance is going to be more like 50 blocks, 45 or 50 blocks above the farm. So I don't want to go down that way. I don't know why I keep doing that. I want to go down here into the water drop. And let's see what we've got. I want to run right over and look at the chest. See, so we got some stuff while we were up there. We weren't up there that long, and we've already got stuff dropping. So, this tells me that the farm is working when I'm not here. It's working while I'm up on the platform. But then there's always stuff down here when I come down here. If I want that armor, I could try and whack that guy. I could get XP. I can get armor if there's anything in here that I want by just picking up the leavings. And if I want a lot of that kind of stuff, I could flip that dry switch so that when I come down here, all the mobs that were in there will wander off onto the magma for me, and I can just walk up and down with my sword and get lots of those kinds of drops. So let's see. Let's put this stuff away. And I'm trying to think, is there anything else that you might want to know about the farm? Let's take a quick sleep. Maybe it'll come to me in my dreams. And put the zombie flesh in there. I think that might be it for this video anyway. So, wow, where'd that creeper come from? These guys are real destructive in this world. I've got griefing turned on, so they just blow big holes and things. I should just shoot them with a bow. Anyway, click that like button for me if you like the video. Leave your comments and questions below. And click the subscribe button and the notification bell if you want to be notified of future videos. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.